Hi, I'm Jason Blanchard, and these are my creative adventures. All right, guys, I'm back, and this is part 3. And yesterday I tied up the string, but it wasn't enough, so I had to redo it. So I did a double paracord string and knotted it, and now I just gotta singe it. And I already did the duct tape on the other side like I said I would. And here in a second, we're going to go out and I'm going to actually throw these around. You see knuckle to knuckle, it's almost too much, but that should be about perfect. It needs to be able to go around your hand, the back of your hand when you're doing those tricks. Okay, so now we're going to singe these ends. And you want to singe them together. Kind of want to melt them together a little bit. Okay. Now those should hold. That should not come apart. You have to really do a lot to get those to come apart. I'm hoping. So let's go out in the backyard and throw these around a little bit, and I'll talk about them and show you some stuff. All right, guys, I need to talk to you about this a little bit first. I meant to do this in the first part, and I didn't really cover it that much. I do not know what the legalities of having nunchucks and owning them. I do not know all the laws surrounding using and owning nunchucks, if there's any laws whatsoever or not. Maybe the only law is if you use them on somebody, I don't know. But still, you will want to be mindful when you are playing around with these that you're doing it in privacy whenever possible. I have an enclosed backyard. Most of my neighbors can't even see me. I have an enclosed yard. My neighbor directly to this side of me is at work. My neighbors behind me, it's really hard for them to see me. I'm behind a privacy fence. The neighbors over that way are probably not home, and even if they are, they're not out. But you want to be really careful about just playing around with nunchucks and throwing them around in open for everybody to see. You want to be really mindful of that because you might just get phone calls to the cops and cops showing up at your door if you get complaints by neighbors who don't understand that you're not a threat, even if you're just playing around with them for fun and you have no intention, don't mean anybody harm. Having a pair of nunchucks could potentially get you into trouble. So be very careful about where you choose to play around with these and who you show them to, just in case. There are some people that just get the wrong idea. And if they see you playing around with a pair of nunchucks, they might think you might mean to harm the people. So most of the time you're going to be all right though. But just be careful. You don't want to get in trouble. And I take absolutely no responsibility for what you choose to do with your set of nunchucks. If you choose to go hurt somebody or use your nunchucks on somebody, that is your choice. I do not advocate that. I only advocate using these for fun, for playing around with, just for fun, not for going and hitting, actually hitting somebody with them and hurting somebody. That is not what I advocate. So I'm going to start playing around with these and show you a few things, and hopefully these I'll be able to do better than I did in part one, where I was throwing around those bottom ones that are thicker and heavier, a little harder to manipulate. I've always used a smaller pair. I did have a little bit bigger dowels for those, just ever so slightly, but these will work. So let me, I'm gonna go back here by this tree, and I'm gonna show you a few things about using nunchucks. Guys, number one, this is usually the position you will start out in usually, and you're going to see this on about every nunchuck video on YouTube, and I'm going to try to hopefully show you a little bit different things. I'm going to try to show you actually how to bounce your nunchucks off of objects, and then show you that it's one thing just to throw these around your body and to do all these fancy things and twirl them around, but it's another thing when you actually have to hit something. So if you had to use nunchucks as a self-defense weapon, I'm going to show you some of that. But first, I'm going to show you some basic stuff that you'll want to practice. So there is this maneuver. What you do is you fling it forward, swing it up around. Let me show you that again. You go swing it up around and then back in. Show you from the side, out, over, and down. It's like an out and down and up past outside your elbow, and then up and around and back underneath your armpit. Okay. Okay. And the more you practice these things, the better you get. That's one technique. Now, another one is a transition from one side. Whoop. The other one is where you go from one side. What you're doing, I'll slow it down for you. You're just taking it. You can do this with the baton. You're just rolling around the back. You're just rolling. Now, if you had your cord too long or your chain too long, your cord or whatever, you're going to get messed up. Okay. Told you at the beginning of these videos, I'm a little rusty. So, another one is, these are just basic. We just go back, catch them, catch them, catch them, catch it, just like this. And for most of this stuff, you want to stay in about the first top half of the nunchuck for hand placement. For most of this stuff, because when you start getting down here, you're losing control. You lose control at the bottom half of this. So, so all right. So you want to start out. See? All right. I'm trying to slow it down for you. One thing about nunchucks, it is usually always pretty fast going. They react fast. So you gotta be able to react fast yourself to catch them. So, left hand. Out, down, up, and around, and back down under. Up, down, around, back down under. It's hard to go slow because they won't cooperate if you try to go too slow. So, and then transition. Not as good as my left. A little awkward because everything is in reverse. Okay. Guys, some basic maneuvers. This one, you always usually start out this, right? So, first maneuver you want to practice is flipping it out and down, or spin it around. Try that again. Up and around and back in. Show you from the side. Out, down, up and around, back, under, in. Really slow. As slow as I can go with that, it's not working. Okay. So, really fast. Oop, too fast. Okay. You want to practice this without hitting yourself. All right. One thing that's going to happen though, if you have this type of nunchucks and it doesn't have a swivel on it, like if you can get something that you can hook it onto and it'll swivel right here, so these twist and turn freely when you're doing tricks. The fact that these twist to a certain point and will want to twist back will screw up some of your throws. That's one of the downfalls of making homemade like this. Chain is a little more forgiving, but still having a swivel is the best. Like the one bottom pair I have that's chain has swivels. All right. Now, next maneuver, what you want to do is go from side to side. And what you're doing
Try to do as slowly as possible. You're just taking it off the back of your hand. You're rolling it off the back of your hand. That's all you're doing. Rolling it off the back of your hand, just like this. You can go into other maneuvers. Oops. Okay, that's going to happen when you're practicing. Okay, you're gonna lose, so make sure you got an area where you, if your nunchucks go flying off, you're not going to hit nothing. So make sure you go outside in a secluded, private area where people won't be able to see you regularly. So practice this maneuver, with both hands. And I'm a little awkward with my left. Then keep them dropping these. Okay. Another more difficult transition is the one where you're going to swing up and try to catch with your hand. This is something I practiced for a long time. The secret is to try to go for right outside your shoulder on either side. Okay? So just like you want to do this easy transition where it's just over your shoulder and down, over your shoulder and down, which you see this a lot in Kung Fu movies. I'll do this, and they'll do this, and then they'll go around, do something like this. So when you master the basics, then you can start fiddling around and trying to do more difficult stuff and challenge yourself to see if you can do a twirl that seems a little awkward or difficult, and see if you can get it into a transition from like you gotta learn kind of bounce it off your own body at times. People will think you're hitting yourself, and in some cases you are, but you're not hurting yourself. You're just using your body to ricochet the nunchucks off of you without hurting yourself. So typically where you're going to usually, if you're going to fight and we're going to hit somebody, it's going to be on the tips, most generally. So I've showed you some basics. Now I'll show you a treat. So if you're going to be hitting somebody, all right, that again, if it's not reacting the way it normally does. Normally, we can hit something. You see, you can go from one hit to another. And hitting a tree that's really solid and not soft is going to be different than hitting something that has soft muscle where it's going to absorb some of the energy. You want to practice hitting against stuff. So, you got to practice hitting things. See how it's going to react. You hit different objects, it's going to be a different reaction. Practice hitting something soft like a punching bag or something and see how your nunchucks react when you hit it. This seems pretty much stopping the force. So if you're hitting somebody, so in those cases of hitting the tree, it literally kind of totally stopped the nunchucks in its track, kind of sucked the momentum energy out of the swing. So you would have to literally put more energy back in and swing it back or something and do. So let's try that. So practice hitting against stuff because against the tree, it seems to just slow the nunchucks down. But that might not always be the case. There are some things you might hit where it'll come flying back at you. And I've had that. So I was kind of surprised because when I used to practice before, literally you hit something, it's going to come flying back. So, and in this case, it doesn't seem to be. It comes flying back, but just comes flying back around. So you got to figure out. Okay. So let me see. Is there anything else I can show you? So try that difficult maneuver. Catch it on the corner of your shoulder. All right, guys, I think I've taken enough video. I'm going to edit this. And you can see I'm all right. I don't have any martial arts training or anything like that. I'm all self-taught. And I just know how to do it to some extent. And I'm just showing you what I do know. And then you have to take it from there. You're going to have to go beyond what I can teach you and find other ways, other sources, like other YouTube videos or whatnot. But that's one way you can make a pair of nunchucks, and some basics that you can use. And you just got to play around and try new things and keep challenging yourself and try to increase your speed. Try not to hurt yourself, and be careful about where you play around with your nunchucks. Make sure you don't do it where you're going to attract the wrong kind of attention. All right, guys.
Thanks for watching. Thanks.